Good evening, all. Welcome to DSA with the Python course, day one session. I welcome you all for this day one session. So, in this series, we are going to learn data structures and algorithms using the Python language. Okay, so WhatsApp group link, there is a problem. Okay, so let me just share another link. You can try this group. Just check out whether are you able to join in this group or not. Is it fine? Can you able to join the group? Just check out. Same problem. Reset. Let me just copy the link. Okay, so group one link. Let me share this group one link with you. Just check out. Still unable to join the group. Joined. Okay. So 229 last three digits. Okay, joined this group. Okay, now it's working, I think. Okay, it's working. Okay, so join this WhatsApp group so that you will get all the updates. Yeah, it's working fine. Okay, right. So we'll proceed with the day one session. Okay, so let me share the screen with you. Right. So hope everyone can see the screen. Yes. Okay. All right. So uh, we'll start with the day one session, DSA with Python. So let us understand what we are going to learn in this DSA course. Okay, so table of contents. First, we'll see introduction to data structures and algorithms. Okay, so then we'll talk about arrays and linked list, or in short we can say lists. Okay, so all kind of links like single linked list, double linked list. Okay, so all those things we will discuss. Then classes and objects concepts also we will discuss, like singly linked list we'll discuss, doubly linked list, circular linked list, circular doubly linked list. Then we'll discuss tags. Okay, so then we'll also discuss like queues. Okay, so these data structures also we'll discuss. Then DQ we'll discuss, priority queue we discuss, then trees, graphs, then heap, hashing, and finally we'll discuss about the time complexity, which helps you in writing efficient code for online coding examinations. Okay, so these are the outline of the topics that we are going to cover in this DSA course. So, if possible, we can also include one more important concepts if you required. Okay, so that is recursion. Okay, we can also include a topic called as a recursion. Okay, because if you know writing recursive functions, okay, so then you can change these recursive functions into uh, dynamic programming type code. Okay, so that also we'll discuss. So this is a broad outline of the concepts or topics that we are going to learn in this DSA course. Am I audible? Is my audio clear? Just say thumbs up if I am audible. Okay. Okay then. Thank you. Can you just see the screen? Okay, so if you observe this screen, it is a library where books are organized like this. Okay, so this form of books, it is unorganized form of books in the library, we can say. Okay, now if I ask you to bring a textbook on a algorithms topic. Okay, so if I ask you to get a textbook on algorithms, okay, then how much time it takes for you to search? Okay, so no doubt it takes lot of time. Okay, because these books are not properly organized. Okay, so since they are unorganized, there is no way to tell that the book may present here, or the book may present here, or the book may be somewhere down on the floor. Okay, so in worst case, what you need to do? You need to search each and every textbook. Okay, so that means it takes a lot of time for searching the required textbook. Okay, so instead of this, if we can organize the books, okay, so in this form, now you can imagine how much time it takes for searching a textbook on the topic called as a algorithm. Okay, so an algorithms textbook can be easily found by going to the rack where those books are stored. Okay, and you can pick one such a algorithms textbook. Got it? Okay, so that means it becomes very easy to search for the required textbook and pick that textbook if those books are in organized way. Okay, so same is the case with the data in computer. Okay, so assume your books are your data. Your books are your data. Okay, so if your data is not properly organized, okay, if it is in unorganized form, then it takes a lot of time to search for a particular data, or to insert a new data, or to delete a particular data. Instead of that, if you can organize the data in proper way, okay, so then this time you can reduce searching time, inserting a new data, or removing a data from the database. Okay, so that is called as a data structure. Okay, so if you can organize the data in a proper way, okay, so that organization, that arrangement is called a data structure. Got the concept? So let us go deep into the topic. So what is data structure? So a data structure is defined as a particular way of storing and organizing data, like we seen in previous slide. Okay, so a particular way of storing and organizing data inside the computer so that that data can be used efficiently and effectively. For that purpose, we organize the data, we store the data inside the computer, okay, in a particular way. Okay, so that is called as a data structure. That is called as a data structure. Okay, so why we need to organize this data? Because in future, if you want to use the data efficiently and effectively, okay, so then if you organize the data by using a data structure, then it becomes very easy. For that purpose, we use a data structure. So the main idea behind using a data structure, okay, is to minimize the time and space complexity. You can see from previous slides. Okay, see if you books are like this. Okay, so they occupy the entire space here. Okay, so they occupy the entire space. That means they are taking lot of space. Instead of that, if the books are organized in this, okay, so then they are taking a less space. Same is the case. So if the data is organized in proper way, okay, then the space occupied by the data is minimum. Okay, and similarly the time taken for retrieving the data is also minimum. That is the main goal of using a data structure. So efficient data structure generally takes a minimum memory space and requires a minimum time to execute the data. Okay, so inside the computer, always we look at minimum time complexity and minimum space complexity. Okay, so the space required, because when you especially work with small devices like mobiles, okay, so the amount of space or memory available is very less. Okay, so there, within that less memory, you need to organize the data properly. Okay, so there you have to use efficient data structures to utilize the less available space more effectively, more efficiently. Okay, similarly it should be time taken should be very less to retrieve the data. Okay, so these two we consider for efficient uh, accessing of data. Okay, so what is the difference between data and information? Generally these are the two terms that we come across. Okay, so data, information, are they same? They look same. Okay, so they appears to be same, but there is a slight difference between these two terms that we need to understand. Okay, so data is nothing but it is raw data. Okay, so after processing this inside the computer, then whatever is generated, that is called as a information. Okay, so after processing inside the computer, okay, so this result, whatever result we generate, that is called as a information. Okay, so that is the main difference between data and information. So let us see with the help of an example. For example, the number 10409, if you store this inside the computer, then it is called a data. Okay, but whereas this data becomes information. Okay, so that means if your program retrieves this number in the form of a date of birth of some person, okay, inside the computer number will be stored like this. Okay, but when some application accesses this data, okay, and retrieves this data in the form of a like a 01 slash 04 slash 09. Okay, this number will be displayed in this form. Okay, so that means after processing it is displayed in this form. This is called information. This is called as a information. Getting? Okay, or sometimes this may represent a zip code wherever a zip code is required. Okay, so if the same number is retrieved, or it may represent salary of some person. Okay, so your application retrieves this number as a salary, like this it retrieves rupees 10409. Okay, so that represents a information. Okay, so this number, these raw facts will store as it is inside the computer. Okay, in the database, that is called a data. Okay, there is some application. Okay, so there is some application, that means a computer program which accesses this data and retrieves this data or gives the data in another form. That means after doing some processing. Okay, so this is called information. This is called information. So data are nothing but the raw facts without context. Okay, so when you say 10409, there is no context for this. But whereas information has a context with the data. Okay, so that means this 010409 will say that it is date of birth of a person. So this is the main difference between data and information. Now, how we can classify the data structures? What are the different data structures available? Okay, so data structures can be classified as two types mainly: primitive types and non-primitive types. Okay, so in primitive types we have int, float, char, pointer. Okay, so primitive types means which are already defined and you cannot make changes inside this. Okay, so this is called as a primitive data type. So just you can copy down this structure. Okay, I'll give 1 minute of time to you. Yes, done. Okay, so primitive types we have int, float, char, pointer, and the non-primitive types can be classified again into two types: linear and non-linear data structures. Okay, so these primitive types generally they comes with the language. Okay, so once those data structures are implemented, okay, so these types are called as a data types there. So in non-primitive types then we have linear and non-linear data structures. Again in linear it can be classified as sequential and linked. Okay, so sequential type we have arrays, stacks and queues. Okay, so sequential means the data is arranged one after the other. Data is organized one after the other. Okay, so that means there is first element, then second element, then third element, then fourth element. So there is an ordering of the data. Okay, so that type of organization is called sequential organization. Okay, so the data structures which are sequential data structures. Okay, so they are arrays, stacks and queues. Then linked data structures. Okay, so examples: linked list, linked stacks and linked queues. And in non-linear data structures, okay, so the data is not organized in a linear fashion. Linear fashion means one after other. Okay, so the data is organized in non-linear fashion. Okay, so non-linear fashion means generally the data is organized in a hierarchical fashion. Okay, so examples are graphs and trees. So we are going to study all these data structures and how they can be implemented in a Python, used in a Python. This is the uh, classification of data structures. So generally use cases, why we need to study these data structures, where generally we use these uh, data structures. Okay, so if you consider the use cases of these data structures, okay, so list we will use in Twitter feeds. You might have seen Twitter feeds. Okay, so each feed is stored as an element in the list. Okay, so there we use a list data structure. Then arrays we use in math operations. Okay, so for handling large data sets, So arrays are used. Then stacks are used in word editors, like for performing undo and redo operations. Like for undo we use control Z, no, control plus Z wheel press. Okay, so that is undo operation. Okay, so it retrieves the previous screen. Okay, so that is just because the previous screen is stored in a stack. Okay, so redo also uses a stack. Undo and redo operations in Microsoft Word or any other editors. Okay, so they are implemented internally by using this stack data structure. Then queue data structure we use for printer jobs. Okay, or user actions in games, like 3 4 people in a organization. Okay, so if there is only one printer at a time, 3 4 members have given printout, all their jobs will be organized in a queue fashion. There we use queue data structure. And heap for task scheduling in operating system, and trees will be used in HTML document organization. Okay, and in AI decisions, tree data structure is used. Then we use suffix tree for a search string in some documents. Then graphs we use for a friendship tracking or path finding. Okay, so like city networks. Okay, so to find shortest path from one city to another city. Okay, so we use a graph data structure then. Okay, so then R trees we use nearest neighbors. Okay, algorithms just to find out nearest neighbors. Then hash table we use for maintaining the caching systems. Okay, so these are some of the use cases where we use data structures in our daily life. So then comes the term algorithm. Okay, so algorithm is a sequence of clear and precise step by step instructions for solving a problem. Okay, so it is in finite amount of time. The algorithm must execute within a finite amount of time. Then only you can call it as algorithm. If it is never ending, you cannot call it as an algorithm. Okay, so a sequence of steps, step by step process, if you can write on a paper for solving a problem, that is called as an algorithm. So generally, algorithms are implemented by translating these step-by-step instructions into computer program. Okay, so generally algorithm is written on a piece of paper. It is written on a piece of paper. Okay, then those step-by-step instructions, if you can convert into a computer program, okay, and those instructions can be executed by a computer, then it becomes a program. Okay, so this translation process is called computer programming. Okay, so converting an algorithm steps into a program steps. Okay, so that is called as computer programming, or simply we'll say that programming. We call it as a programming. Then why we need to study these algorithms? Okay, so for analysis purpose, because there may be several algorithms to solve a given problem. Okay, so a given problem can be solved in many ways. It can be solved in many ways. Okay, so that means there may be different ways of getting a solution for a given problem. Okay, so for each way we can, that means each way represents an algorithm. Okay, so if there are different ways, then when you perform analysis these algorithms, okay, so it deals with finding the best algorithm which runs fast and takes less memory space. Okay, so some solution out of these many solution, one solution will give the efficient output. Okay, runs efficiently and gives you the output. Okay, so that means it runs faster, quickly it gives the output. Okay, so that is called the best algorithm. Okay, so we always need to write a best algorithm which runs faster and takes less memory space. Okay, so which data structure we will use so that your program runs faster. Okay, so these things you will come to know in this course. An example, uh, there is a problem called as find sum of first n natural numbers. Okay, for example, n value is equal to 4. How do you find sum of n natural number? First n natural numbers, so it is nothing but 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4, then the output is 10. For example, if n value is 5, okay, so then it is 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5, the output should be 15. Okay, so as I said, there are different ways of uh, s- finding a solution to this problem. Okay, so one solution is like this. That means you start with the first natural number and go on adding the numbers up to n value. Okay, so then this gives the result. This is one way of solving the problem. Then the other way is directly n value, since you know, then you can use the formula. Okay, so n multiplied by n minus 1 by 2. Okay, so directly you can use n value here. Okay, so this also gives, say for example, n value is 5, 5 into 4 by 2. Okay, so then it gives the n value as a the result as a 10 here. Okay, so out of these two, okay, if you convert these two into computer programs, okay, so which is efficient, which runs faster, that we need to understand. Okay, obviously the second one is the best, because there is only one instruction to execute, but whereas here you need to iterate through the numbers from starting from 1 to n value. Okay, if n value is very large, you can imagine how many times you need to iterate. You to go on adding one by one until you reach n value. Okay, so this takes some time, but whereas compared to whatever may be the n value, okay, this is the only instruction that is executed. So that means this solution, this approach is considered efficient compared to the first one. Okay, so these things are possible when you analyze the algorithms. Okay, so this we will do in this course. Got it? Any doubts up to this? So we will have poll questions in between, and you need to answer those poll questions also. If you have any doubts, just you can uh, type in the chat. Okay, so we'll start the first data structure. Okay, so that is arrays in Python. Okay, so what do you mean by array? Array is a collection of a similar type of elements. Okay, so it is a collection of similar type of elements. They are called as a homogeneous elements. Okay, and they are stored at a contiguous memory locations using one single variable name. Okay, so you can just say using one single variable name here. So if homogeneous elements can be stored in contiguous memory locations by using one variable name, okay, then that is called an array. It is a collection of similar type of elements, similar type elements called as homogeneous elements, and these homogeneous elements are stored in contiguous memory locations. Okay, meaning that the elements will be stored one after the other. This is called a contiguous memory location. That means if you have access to the first element, then you can reach to the second element. You can go to the next element. You can go to the next element. Okay, so that is called as a contiguous memory organization. So how to create an array in Python? Okay, so in Python, you can create an array by importing a module called as a array. Okay, so there is a module called as array in Python, and you need to import this module for creating an array. Okay, so like this, import array as ARR. Like, so how do we import? By using the keyword called as a import. Okay, so we use the keyword called as a import. Okay, so this imports, and you give the module name here. Array is my module name as ARR. What do we mean by this? That means for this array, I am giving an alias name. Okay, another name I am giving. This is called as a alias name. Okay, assume that if my module name is very big. Okay, so every time typing that lengthy module name. Okay, so I can rename with another name, that alias name. Okay, so this as is used to give an alias name to the existing module. Okay, so like for example, if my module name is like matplotlib. Okay, so then I can just give an alias name like plt, something like short name I can use. It becomes very easy to use this short name. Okay, so remember, in Python, arrays are implemented as objects. Okay, so in Python, everything is implemented as a object. Internally, it is implemented as object. Okay, so we can use the function array. Okay, so which takes two values like a data type and also value list of values you should pass as the second argument. Okay, so this function we use. Okay, so the function name is again array. Inside the module name is also array. Here inside this module there is a constructor. You can also call it as a constructor. Okay, so in array there is a class called as array class. Inside that array class there is a constructor array. Okay, so remember this array function takes two arguments. First one is, because in array what type of data you are going to use, that data type you must specify here. Okay, and also the list of values you should specify as a second argument here. Okay, so this function is used to create an array in a Python. Okay, so in Python we use this to create the array. Okay, so let us create a array. Okay, and store some values, and we will print that array. Okay, so how do we create? Just I'll write first. Okay, so then I'll show the execution here. Okay, so what we need to do, we need to uh, import the we need to import the module called as a array. Yes or no? Okay, so for that we will import here, say import, the module name is array. Okay, as ARR. Okay, so you can use any other name here. This is user defined name here. Then what next we need to do? Okay, so we will create an array. Okay, so like we'll create an array, and there you have to use this alias name here. Okay, so array dot, and there is a function called as array. Okay, so for this array, the first argument is data type. So the data type can be specified by using a letter called as a I here. Okay, so this I indicates that I am going to store integer numbers in this array. This is what you are informing. Then followed by some list of numbers. Say for example 10, 20, 30. Okay, so 10, 20, 30 I am going to store in my array. Then close this. And these list of numbers must be given within the square brackets, remember. Okay, or you can also use a parenthesis, and this creates the array. Okay, and you give a name to that array. Okay, so I am calling that array with a name called as a here. Okay, so when this statement is executed, what happens? When this statement is executed, okay, so it creates an array internally. Okay, so the array is created like this with the three elements 10, 20 and 30. Okay, so the first element will be stored at index 0, next element will be stored at index 1, and next element will be stored at index 2. Okay, so these are called index. So this is how the memory diagram looks like once this statement is executed, after executing this statement. And this is the memory allocated for array, and that entire memory is used by the name called as a. Got it? Okay, right. So once we create an array, for example, we want to print this array. So how do we print? We will print the array by using print statement. Okay, so then just give name of the array. Give name of the array, then it prints the entire array here. Okay, so how it prints we will see after executing this statement. Then I'll show you what is printed exactly. Okay, so let us go to the online browser. Okay, so if you have Python installed in your system, you can use that. Otherwise you can open online Python compiler. Okay, then you can use that online Python compiler. Okay, so let me open online Python compiler. So here I will type so import array as arr. Okay, so then I'll create an array. How do we create? Arr dot the function name. Okay, so it is arr dot array, and the first argument is data type. Okay, so that you must specify by using a letter here. Okay, so then followed by the list of numbers to be stored in this array. Okay, so then I print the array here. Okay, so I say. Now let me run this code. Okay, so what is printed exactly? Let us understand. Okay, so now see here. Now you can see how it is printed. Okay, so it has a printed the output like array. Okay, so array, and within the parenthesis I comma 10 20 30. Okay, so that means array, this a is implemented as a object. Okay, so then that object it has printed it is telling that a is an array. Okay, so containing integer elements, and these are the elements. That is how this a object will be printed on the screen. Okay, but we don't want this way of printing the array. Okay, so I want only the numbers to be printed like 10 20 and 30. Okay, so for that what you can do is you can use an operator. Okay, so you can use an operator, or you can use a for loop also. Okay, so first let us print this by using a for loop. So I'm using a loop for printing this array. Okay, so how I can use for I in range. Okay, so then what are the, so you should access the array by using the index 0, index 1, yes or no? Okay, so this element is at index 0, this element is at index 1. That means you should generate these indices. Okay, you should generate these indexes. Okay, if you can generate these index numbers, then you can access them like a of 0. Okay, so like a of 1. Like this, you can access the numbers. Okay, so I will show you how you can generate these indexes by using a function called as a range function. Then you give length of a. Okay, so what happens in this statement? Exactly what numbers are generated when this is executed. Now if you see, for I in range length of a, okay, so there is a function called as a length function. Okay, so this length function, when you say length of a, length of the array, then it counts the number of elements present, 3 elements, so it returns the value as a 3. Okay, this inside length function returns the value as 3. Okay, but when you write a range of 3, and this range function, these are all functions, okay, and this range function, when you write range function, what it does is it starts generating the number starting from 0. It always starts with 0. Okay, so it generates all the numbers starting with 0, 1, 2, and stops at a before number. Okay, so range 3 means it stops at 2. That means these three numbers are generated. Range function generates these three numbers, 0, 1, and 2. Okay, so then the loop, for loop, will be executed for each number. Okay, so for each number, for I is equal to 0, now it is executed once. Okay, so when I first, what happens, the first number will be passed into the array here. Okay, so from this, the first number will come into this array, 0 will come into this array. Now I value contains a 0. Okay, so now we can print the I value, or we can print the first number like a of 0. 0 is present in I, so you can say a of I, then it prints the first number. Okay, so that we can do here. I'll just clear this. Right. Okay, so now let me print that. So I'll print here, just print a of I. I'm printing a of I. I value is equal to 0. A of 0 will be printed. Okay, so next what happens, I value becomes equal to 1. Okay, so I value becomes 1. I value becomes 1. Then a of 1 will be printed. This will be printed. Then I value becomes equal to 2. Then next this value will be printed. Okay, so since range generated only these three numbers, 3 times the loop executes. Afterwards it stops. Okay, so let us see what is the output generated here. So let us run the code. Now you can see the output here. It is the first print printed the output in the form of a array object. Then this for loop printed the numbers 10, 20, 30. Got it? So only the numbers we have printed. Right. So now you may ask, sir, instead of printing these numbers in vertical form, okay, so can we print the numbers in horizontal form like 10, 20, 30? I want the numbers to be printed in this format, so that in a row I want to print, so that it looks like printing an array. Okay, so how this can be done? It can be done by using an attribute inside the function. Okay, so called as a end attribute you can use. So then end is equal to, just you can say space, you can give a space, is equal to, in single or double quotes you can just give a space here. Okay, so this informs that print the numbers in horizontal form. Generally the default way of printing by print function is in the next line. Okay, but when you use the attribute end after printing this number, then go to end and add a space. That is the meaning here. Okay, so that's why the numbers will be printed in a horizontal form. Okay, now you can see here 10, 20, 30 printed in horizontal form in a row. They are printed in a row just like our array. Got it? Okay, so now you can also ask me, yeah, is it required to use a for loop every time? Okay, can't we use any a simple way of printing this? Okay, so we can also do that by using an operator. Okay, so inside the printer you can just use an operator called as a asterisk operator. Okay, this asterisk a you can say. Okay, so this asterisk a indicates that unpack the elements inside the array. Okay, so it unpacks elements inside the array and sends one by one to the print function. Then the print function prints those numbers. Okay, so now I am keeping this for loop inside the comment so that you can see, or if it is uh, now you can see. Okay, so when you say print star a, so it unpacks all the elements, and only the elements will be printed. If you just say print a is an object, no, then it prints in the form of object like this. Only the elements inside the object you want, then you can use this asterisk operator star. Unpacking, this is called unpack operator, like this. Okay, now if I use a for loop also here, how the output looks like, now you can just see here. Okay, so the first print a object is printed, then the next for loop printing 10, 20, 30. Okay, so then the next print statement prints the numbers 10, 20, 30. Okay, so they are printed one after the other. That means after completing this for loop, okay, so then what happened, this also printed on the same line. Okay, so that means what it is doing, this end operator after printing the 30, it is adding a space here, then the cursor will wait here itself, cursor will wait here itself. Okay, so the next printer will start printing from there itself. That's why the next output is on the same line. Okay, so if you want to move this output to the next line, so what you need to do is, after coming out from the loop, okay, so just you add an empty blank statement. Okay, so this empty blank prints nothing. Okay, so that means it moves cursor to the next line, it moves cursor to the next line, then the next print statement prints the output in the next line. Okay, so if you run this code, now you can see 10, 20, 30 printed in the next line. Got it? Okay, so since we use this attribute end, so the next printer comes in the same line. Okay, so to print an empty line here, just use print here. Okay, so this prints a blank line here. Okay, so that means after this a blank line means it moves the cursor to the next line. That is the meaning there. Got it? Then I want to check what is the size of elements inside this array. Okay, so each element how much memory it is occupying, each element. Okay, so for that we have a method called as a print. Okay, print array name is a, and each element is called item, so print the item size, you can say print the item size. Okay, so when you run this, now you can see 4 printed here. Okay, so that means each integer occupies 4 bytes. That is the meaning here. Each element size, if you want to know. Okay, so this is the size of each element, each integer. Since elements are integers here, they occupy 4 bytes. That's how you can find out on your system what is the size of integer, how much memory is allocated for integer. If you want to know, you can use this item size, a dot item size, that prints the size of each item occupied inside the system. Okay, any doubts? Then we'll move on to the uh, Right. So what are the common types? Like we have used I, no, we have used the name I we have used. Okay. So what are other characters that we can use? We can use B, which indicates a signed character. Okay. So B is used to indicate a signed character. If you want to store a character, okay, so then you can use the letter called B here. Okay, so the minimum size for this, and I is for storing a signed integer numbers. For storing a signed integer numbers, we can use this. Then F can be used for storing a floating point data, which occupies here integer can be 4 because all modern systems, okay, so softwares are of a 64-bit type, no, so that's why integer these days occupies 4 bytes. Then double data type, you can use the letter called as a D. Okay, so it occupies 8 bytes. Then how we can access array elements? As I said, okay, so the array elements can be accessed using the index. Okay, so we used a of 0, a of 1, a of 2. Like that, we have accessed the array elements. So here in Python, the beauty is this index may be either a positive number or a negative number. That means you can also use a negative index. Okay, so how it can be used? Say, for example, if this is your array containing a 4 elements, okay, like this, say 10, 20, 30, and 40. Okay, so if there are 4 elements in the array, now as I said, we use index now. Okay, so assume this is our array. Let me draw the array diagram here. 0, 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so assume that this is 11, 22, 33, and 44. So these are the values present in our array called A here. Okay. So we use A of 0, A of 1, A of 2, and A of 3 for assign. So we said that index in Python may be a positive number or it can be a negative number. Okay. That means when you assign the indexes from left to right, okay, so they are positive indexes starting from a 0. Okay. But when you assign the indexes from right to left, okay, so then the indexes can be negative indexes. Okay. So that means the last element index starts at a -1 and this is -2 and this is -3 and this is -4. So this is how the negative indexes are assigned to the same array. That means you can access an element 44 like this. Okay, so the element 44 can be accessed like a of 3. When you say a of 3, this gives the element 44, or when you say a of -1, this also gives the element called as a 44. This also gives the element 44 from the array. Okay, so that means you can use both positive and negative indices. This is how the negative indices are assigned and the positive indices are assigned. Right to left, the indices are positive, and sorry, left to right, left to right, left to right, the indices are positive, and right to left, the indices are negative. Okay, so Rightmost will be -1, -2, -3, -4. Like this, those indices are negative indices are assigned to the array. Okay, so these negative indices are not available in other languages like C, C++, Java. Only in Python, these negative indices are allowed. Then what are different methods that we can use for manipulating the array? Okay, so once you create an array, okay, so you want to manipulate that array. Okay, for example, you want to add a number called 5 at the end of the array. Then you can use a method called as a append, a dot append, and give the value 5. So this adds 5 to the end of the array. Okay, so after last element, this new element will be added. Appending means adding at the end. Then there is another method called pop. Okay, so this removes the last element. When you say pop, always it removes the last element from the array. For example, you want to remove particular element from the array at index I here. Then you can say pop and within the square brackets give the index value I here. So this removes and returns the item at index I. Okay, so whatever element present at index I, that is removed, and also it returns that deleted value. You can collect in some variable. Then you want to add an element. When you say append, it always adds at the end, but you want to add at some required index, somewhere in the middle or at some other index you want to add. You can use this insert function I comma x. Okay, so insert the element x at index I. That is the meaning there. Then you want to reverse all the elements, then just use a dot reverse. It reverses all the elements. Then you want to remove only element here. Okay, so the first occurrence of the value x will be deleted from the array. Okay, because your array may contain duplicate values. Okay, like 10, 20, 30. Okay, again 10. So when you say remove 10, so the first occurrence element will be deleted from the array. Then count x. So this returns the total number of times the value x appears in the array. For example, you want to count how many times the value 10 is occurring in the array. Okay, so just you can say count to 10. Then it returns the value as a 2. You can say that 10 occurring 2 times in the array. Then you want to remove all elements in one go from the array. Okay, so then you can say a dot clear. Then it deletes all the elements from the array. Then you want to extend the array with another array. Okay, or another list you want to extend. Then you can use this a dot extend, and you can pass this list or another array as argument here. Then you want to find out index of particular element. Okay, so particular element x is present at what index. Okay, so there may be see two elements. Okay, so x value may be 10 here, 10, 10 occurring two times here. Okay, so which index it returns? So for example, this is 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so which index it returns? It always returns the first occurrence of x. That means it returns the index 0, it returns. That indicates that 10 is occurring at index 0. Okay, or you can say the first occurrence of 10, if duplicates are there, is at index 0. Okay, so by using these methods, okay, so we can manipulate the array. So let us implement these things in our program. Okay, so one by one we will implement these methods and we'll see how the array is manipulated. So we'll go back to our online compiler. Okay, so let us go back to online compiler. Yeah, this is our online compiler. So we create array. All these things I am just removing. Okay, so this also I am deleting. I'll just use unpack operator here just to print the array elements so that you will come to know what are all different elements. So I add some more elements like 40, 50. Okay, Now you can see this is our array 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 is our array. So we will implement all the methods one by one. I want to add a new element at the end of the array. Okay, so then I can say a dot append, a dot append. Okay, say for example 60 I want to add. Okay, or something like 15 I want to add. Okay, so then it adds 15 at the end of the array. So again you print the array here. So when you say star a, okay, so here you can add a message also. If you want, you can add a message after appending, and comma star a you can say. Okay, so this message will be printed. After the message, the values in the array will be printed like this. You can see here after appending. Now 15 added at the end of the array. Okay, so then we will remove one element. For example, if I remove by using a pop, if I say a dot pop, which element is deleted? Last element, that means 15 is deleted. Okay, so let us print the array. Okay, so I'll print the array here. Now you can see, so 15 deleted. Okay, so only the last element deleted from the array. Instead of that, I want to delete element at particular index. Okay, say for example I say delete element at index 2, at index 2. Okay, so which element is deleted? Can you just type in the chat which element is deleted? This is our array. After appending, this is our new array. Okay, so which element is deleted? When I say pop 2, index 2, type in the chat. Okay, so this is 0, this is index 1, index 2. Okay, so 30 should be deleted. Let us run this code. Now you can see 30 deleted from this. Okay, so there is no 30. Index 2 element is deleted. So similarly, we can add an element at particular index. Okay, so for example, let us add an element, say add insert we will use. Okay, so enter the element at particular index like index 3 I say. Okay, so which element we will add? Something like 65. Okay, so then we'll print the array here. Now you can see, so this is our new array at index 3, 0, 1, 2. Okay, so 3 means after 40 it should be added. So after 40, 65 is added. Okay, right, this is insert. You want to reverse all the values. Okay, so after adding 65, I just say a dot reverse, a dot reverse, then your array will be printed in reverse order. Now you can see here 65 added. Okay, so array is printed in reverse order: 15, 50, 65, 40, 20, 10. Okay, so it is printed in reverse order after adding this. Got it? Or you want the you can see this. Now if I run, now you can see 65 added, and this is printed in a reverse. Okay, then you want to delete a particular element from the array. Okay, so then you can say a dot remove, a dot remove. Okay, so give the element here. So for example, if I give the element name like 15. Okay, so then we'll print the array here. We'll print the array after deleting the 15. Now you can see 15 is deleted, and since here when you say a dot reverse, the array itself is reversed. Okay, so that's why after deleting the 15, since the array is in reverse order, Now it has printed the elements in this form. Okay. Now you want to count the number of times a value is occurring here. Okay. So for that, what we do is we can add one more element called 10 here. Okay. So 10 I am uh, adding 2 times. Now let us count this. Okay. So even you can directly uh, say a dot count and the value 10. Okay. So and this entire statement you can use inside the print also. This is also possible. Directly it prints the value here. Now you can see 10 appearing 2 times here. Okay. So since I added 10, if I add one more 10, okay. So somewhere here, now its value changes to 3. If I run this, now you can see it changes to 3. Okay. So then extend function, you want to extend the array with another array. Okay. Like say for example, a dot extend. Okay. So extend with another array, like another list, like 11, 22, 33. Okay. So if I extend this, where these elements are added, elements are added. So I just uh, print the array. Okay. So if I run the code, now you can see this is our array. Okay. So then when I extend, the new elements will be added at the end of the array. So this new array, entire array is added at the end of the existing array. Now your array becomes all these elements. Okay. So this is how we can use the functions for performing modifications or playing with this array. Any doubts in this? Any doubts in this? Okay, right. So then we'll proceed with our PPT. Then slicing of an array. Okay, so sometimes we want to take the array in the form of slices, like our bread slices, how we take pieces of okay, so that slices you want to retrieve the array in the form of slices. So in Python, you can print a specific range of elements by using this slice operation. Okay, so for this slice operation, we use the slice operator called as a colon. Okay, so this colon is called as a slice operator. Remember, okay, so this is called as a slice operator. We use this colon for breaking the array into slices. Okay, so how it can be used now, for example, elements from beginning to a range. Okay, so up to a particular range you want to print, then you can use this something. If a is your array, a, okay, so space colon index. Okay, so what happens if this is your array, then it prints all the elements starting from first index. Okay, so index 0 on to up to this index. Okay, so when you give this index something like if you say a space colon, okay, so something like 4 if you give. Okay, like I draw this array. If this is your array 0 1 2 3 4 5 6, Okay, so then print all the elements from beginning up to the index 4. Okay, so this the syntax for slicing operation is array name, then followed by starting index. You can give the starting index here. Okay, so starting index, then followed by stop index where it should stop. Okay, so this stop index you should provide here. Okay, so if you don't give starting index, if you keep this empty, then it understands by default, it understands the starting index as a 0. Same is the case if you don't give the second index value here. Okay, it understands that up to end of the array, go up to the end of the array. That's how it understands. Okay, so if you print like this a, this is very very important. Okay, so space colon 4 means go up to index 4 from the beginning. Okay, so what it happens means it stops at this starting index is inclusive. Okay, so please remember this is inclusive, and this is a stop index is a exclusive. Stop index is exclusive, that means that index is not included into that. Okay, then it stops at uh, the index before this 4. Okay, so one index less than this number, it stops at one index less than this number. That means it stops at index 3. It don't go up to 4, it stops at index 3. Okay, so always it stops at one less than this second index. Okay, so that means starting from 0, 1, 2, 3, these four elements are printed. Index 4 element is not printed, then the slicing operator stops at one less than the second index. Remember this. Okay, then for example elements from end you want to print. Okay, so then you can use this minus index. Okay, so when you say a colon, okay, so if you say -1, then it prints all the elements in a reverse. Then elements from specific index till the end. Okay, so from particular index you want to print. Okay, so just like a from index 2, just see here 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. Okay, I want to just take this slice. Okay, so these three elements I want to take one slice. This is one slice. Okay, so then you can say starting from index 2 or go to up to the end. If you say okay, so up to the end you want to take this slice, then just you keep the second index empty. From index 2 you go to the last element of the array. Okay, so then all the elements like 30, 40, 50, 60 will be printed. These elements will be printed. Then elements within a range. Okay, so you want to take a slice like starting from this to this, only these slice you want to print, then you should say starting index and ending index. Okay, so starting from index 1 go up to index 4. See here, you want to stop at index 3, then you should provide the index 4 here. Okay, so a 1 colon 4, the meaning is starting from index 1 go up to index 3. It stops at index 3 only, it won't print index 4 here. Okay, so then what happens, index 1 is 20 here, index 2 is 30 here, index 3 is 40. That's it, it stops at this index 3, then these three numbers will be printed. So if you want to print the complete list, okay, so just you can keep everything empty, just starting to ending it prints. That means all the elements will be printed in the array. For reversing the array, okay, so just you can keep like this. You can keep like this. Okay, so like a, no starting index, no ending index. Okay, so then we'll give this -1 here. Step. Okay, so that means print the elements from the last. So this one line code reverses the entire array. Okay, so three arguments, starting index, ending index, both are 0, and this is called the step value. Okay, so that means from the end you print all the elements. That is what we are informing. Okay, right? So the simple slice operator can be used for taking slices or some sub arrays from the given array. Any doubts in this? Any doubts in this? So let us take some poll questions. Okay, so we'll take some poll questions. So slicing is very, very important. Okay, so if you have any doubts in slicing, just you can post your doubt in the chat. Right. Okay, so I'm just uh, loading the first poll question. The first poll question I am the first poll question is so then you are getting the first poll question. It is ready. Okay, right. So you can see on the screen. So complete your first poll question. And you are getting the second poll question. The second poll question is ready. So you can answer the second poll question. You can answer the second poll question. Then you are getting the third poll question. Yeah, this time. So it is displayed on your screen. Okay. Third poll question. You can answer the third poll question. Complete the third poll question. Third poll question is live. So the answers for the correct answers are, the first poll question answer is D. Okay. Then that means error, because you are accessing an element which is outside the boundary of the array. Okay. So that's why you will get error. Then the second poll question answer is B. And the third poll question answer is C. So in second, you are printing the slice 1 to 4. Okay. So when I said 1 to 4, it stops at 3. 1, 2, 3. Index 1, index 2, index 3 elements will be printed. So 33% students. Index 1, 2, 3. So for your, the options displayed 20, 30, 40 is the correct answer. Okay. So for the first question, it is error you will get. Then the second question, the answer is index 1. So 20, 30 and 40 will be printed. Second poll question. Okay. So then for the third poll question, so printing the array from the end. Okay. So then when you are printing the array from the end, okay, so then the second index stops one less, I said. Okay. So then for that, then the answer, okay, so should be, it stops at a -2 only. So that means you will get 10, 20, 30 and 40 only. Okay. So 10, 20, 30, 40. So the second index you have given as -1. Starting from beginning, stop at index -1. Okay. So it considers the index -1 means it stops at -2 means it stops at 40 only. Okay. So this is the third answer you will get. So thank you one and all. So in next lecture, we will discuss about a list data structure. So friends, if you found this video useful, so please like the video and also share this video among your friends, and also subscribe to my channel if you are new to the channel, and also click on the bell icon for more updates. So thank you one and all.